It's time for Around the Ozarks Sports Scene, sponsored by Fast Break Sports and The Pitch. Here's your host, Scott Puryear.
Welcome into another edition of Around the Ozarks Sports Scene. I am Scott Puryear. A happy New Year to everyone. Hope you had a great time over the holidays. We're back after a 2-week break from the podcast and ready to go and talk some hoops. Of course, that's made possible by our sponsors, Fast Break Sports and The Pitch. We'll talk more about those at the end of the podcast, but we're going to talk some basketball with the Lady Chiefs of Kickapoo. Coach Leslie Hanchey, senior standout Mikayla Pilley are on with us. Ladies, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Hi, thanks for having us.
You betcha. Well, and again, another pink and white tournament championship. You guys beat a scrappy Stafford team in the finals. Stratford, I think I may have said Stafford. I don't know who that is, but Stratford in the finals. Kind of pulled away in the end. Mikayla had that determined look again that she's not going to lose in the fourth quarter, and I believe is that a third title in 4 years in that event?
Yep, that's third time for her in 4 years, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I'm sure you don't mind seeing that look in your senior's eye late in the game that when it's winning time, as Coach Hesser used to put it, kind of stepping up and saying, I got this.
Absolutely, and it started last year in the exact same tournament. We needed her to step up after our point guard, Kaya Johnson, went down with concussion in the third quarter, and we needed her to step in the fourth quarter, and she completely took over that game. And then from basically that game on, a different side that I hadn't really seen of Mikayla came forward, of her being comfortable and willing to just carry a team on her shoulders and do whatever's necessary, not even just scoring, but rebounding, defending, taking charges, all those things that just make a player dominant is kind of what she's been for us since that game on, including the championship against Stratford.
Mikayla, a 4-year player on the varsity there at Kickapoo. At what point in your career did you really feel comfortable doing that and saying, okay, I'm going to take over now? Was it your sophomore year, junior year, this year? When you look back, when do you think that turning point was?
You know, I started to get a lot more comfortable, I'd say, my sophomore year, just having a bigger role on the team compared to my freshman year. Definitely later in the season, my sophomore year, but I think last year, the whole season for sure, I just got more comfortable being like, okay, my team needs me to do this, or this, and just being able to execute that.
Of course, freshman year, you had Bella Fauntleroy out there. She was probably going to take that role, wasn't she, at that point?
Oh, yeah. And she was such a great leader, and I'm very thankful to have gotten to play with her my freshman year. I learned a lot from her, and, you know, I'm hoping that me as a senior now, I can be kind of a leader like she was whenever I was a freshman.
Well, Coach Hanchey's in her second year as the head coach after how many years as assistant? Was it 15, 17?
15 or 16. I can't remember. They all start to just blend together after a while.
It's a long time when you can't remember the actual number, right? So
that just means I'm getting old, Scott.
I still see you as that Kickapoo forward over there for the Lady Chiefs. Schubel and Phillips, or just Phillips then?
I was actually the first full class of Coach Phillips.
Okay.
I got the opportunity. Now, Schubel, I still love her. I mean, she comes to a lot of our games, and I looked all of her camps. But, yeah, Coach Phillips was my main coach for all 4 years.
Well, your second year as the head coach, last year, phenomenal run into the state championship game. I ran into the monster that is Incarnate Word. We're going to talk about them a little bit later. But do things feel differently for you this year in year two?
I think I'm a little bit more, not as like, Mikayla probably wouldn't agree, but I feel like I'm a little bit calmer than I was last year. You know, the expectations are just so high when you come into a program. I know that I've been around the program my whole life, but when it all falls, you know, on me, and I'm the one running the show, it's just that added pressure. But I think this year, a little bit more comfortable and knowing what we are expecting of our girls and, you know, what we want our program to represent. And so I think that's been the biggest change, is kind of getting more comfortable in that position.
Mikayla, have you seen a difference in her?
Honestly, I feel like she's done a lot for our program even before she was our head coach. She works so hard, whether that's watching film or explaining a drill to us in practice, just trying to make us better. But I feel I can agree that this year you've been a lot more comfortable, and you trust yourself more this year, which makes us trust you even more.
How much does it help to feel comfortable, Leslie, with Mikayla out there on the floor?
Oh, when we got her and Josie running the show, it makes things a lot more. I mean, and even our kids are even more comfortable when they are the ones that are kind of running it, and it just at times they just make it look so effortless. When that happens, everything else just kind of opens up for everybody else. So when you got two leaders like them that have been around long enough to kind of know what to expect in big games and not to get too high, not to get too low, as a coach, it's so much. Things just go a lot smoother when your top players are calm under pressure.
We talked about you and the difference, but what have you seen in Mikayla this year that may be different from last year or her sophomore year?
Her physicality has gotten a lot better. You know, she's in the weight room every single quarter. When's the last time you even took a break from weight?
Last year, maybe.
It's been a while. So yeah. I think her physicality has gotten a lot better, and I think just knowing that this is it and leaving it all out there, you know, that was her last pink and white, and she wanted to leave it on a high note, just kind of knowing that each day is kind of the last day of that particular game or moment. I've really noticed, and that's been with all of our seniors. You know, we have a core group of seniors that have been around for 4 years that just have kind of taken it, and they're the leaders of the program now, and are setting really great examples for our younger kids.
You guys are 9-2 on the season after a win at Willard last night. We're taping this on Tuesday of this week. You've got another game at Parkview, COC game on Friday. First year of the COC, how's that feel? Did it feel any different last night? And is it kind of fun to go to some different places?
I think it's a lot of fun. You know, I'm glad we get to do this my senior year, play some new schools that maybe we haven't been used to playing in the past, and just kind of meeting some new competition. And I think it'll be a fun season this year playing those different teams.
That 9-2 record.
I think it'll be nice. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think it'll be nice, too, because we'll get to play these teams now during conference that we're going to turn around and see in district play. You know, last year we didn't play Nixa, but there was a chance that we were going to see them in districts, and we didn't play them all year, so you kind of would have been going into it blind. So kind of knowing what you need to do against your district opponents, Nixa, Ozark, Republic, Glendale, all of them, playing them during the season just helps whenever postseason rolls around, getting you prepared for what you need to do. It
should also help make the seedings a little more cut and dried, too, shouldn't it, with everybody playing?
For sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
That 9-2 mark, a couple losses last month. St. Charles Lutheran by 4, lost to Park Hill South by 12. Were those losses that were good for you? I know no loss is great, but, I mean, did you learn anything about your team? Did it kind of settle you in a little bit? Some things to work on? Kind of talk about where those were and how those games went.
Sure. So Lutheran St. Charles right now is ranked second in Class 6, and Park Hill South is ranked third, obviously both behind Incarnate Word. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we need to make our schedule as hard as possible so that once postseason comes around, our kids have been through a gauntlet and know it makes them more comfortable playing harder teams when they've played them during the season. And so those two teams are great chances for us. Obviously, they didn't turn out how we wanted. But later on in the season, it's only going to help us. Park Hill South is very good. So is Lutheran St. Charles. But having them both in this area and being able to have them come to our tournament and go play them over at Willard, those are good tests for us, and we've gotten better since playing both of those teams.
Obviously now you have a scouting report on both. You know, I mean, head to head, that's got to be a help too, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. You know, Lutheran St. Charles has a K-State commit. She basically took over in the fourth quarter against us, and we lost by 4. I wish we could take that fourth quarter back and make a few adjustments. And then Park Hill South has got Bajorn, I think is how you pronounce her last name. She's got, I think, 40-plus D1 offers. They've got 4. Their top 4 out of their top 5 are all probably going to go D1, and they are very good. And so having that film on them and having kind of knowing what we didn't do well and things that we could do better if we happen to see them down the road will only be our advantage.
Notice on the schedule, mixed in with all the COC games, you've got a tournament in Pittsburgh, Kansas, correct?
Yep, we go there here in a few weeks. Olathe North is in it, as well as Shawnee Northwest, and they both have some D1 players on both of their teams. Willard's going to be in that. Carthage, Pittsburgh, Kansas, obviously, because they're hosting it. Webster Groves is in it. So teams that we would never normally see in our schedule, that's always great to be able to go play also out-of-state teams and kind of see how we hang against bigger schools from different states.
And, of course, kind of a little mid-season or later mid-season recharge for you, too, from break things up a little bit, too. Yeah.
Sure.
Mikayla, Wyatt, when I had Wyatt Wheeler on, we were talking about recruiting, and you know, the coach mentioned that the girl had 40 Division I offers. I think Wyatt and I are both in unison that we hate what this is doing to high school recruiting with the portal and NIL and everything else, and not quite as rampant, I don't think, on the women's side with the portal, but still a thing there because you've got Division I schools holding back on available scholarships to see who comes through the portal. Portable. It is portable because they can take it anywhere. But your thoughts on that, and Leslie, you first as a coach and somebody who played collegiately, the kind of the scope of what's going on now, because you know a junior who leads a team into the state championship game, you know, ought to be on some radars coming into the next year.
100%. Yeah, it's killing it. I mean, it's tough for those kids that are putting in the hours and wanting to go to big name schools that are having to basically go get in somewhere, go play your freshman year somewhere, and then decide where you want to go because then you've got some college experience. Not a fan of it. We're seeing it now, Scott, even at the high school level. You know, there's kids now that are moving every year to find the right fit for them and trying to load up teams to try to, you know, make a deep run in the state playoffs. And it's just killing girls basketball. I'm not a fan.
Well, and you know, that's not to denigrate her choice because she's going to Fort Hays State, which has been a top 5 program in D2. Absolutely. I mean, they're 12-1 on the year. They're 5-0 at home. They actually got to play UConn in that exhibition in the season opener. That's something that you don't see a lot of D2s get the chance to do. Mikayla, talk about Fort Hays and really what it came down to for you.
Fort Hays, I'm really excited to be going there next year. The recruiting process for me was pretty difficult. I had my Fort Hays offer pretty early, and then an offer from Maryville, which is another D2, and then I got an offer from SEMO actually by the end of the summer, which is Division I, and that kind of put a halt because I was leaning towards Fort Hays. And I was kind of really debating on that because I'd always dreamt about going Division I, but I think I love the winning atmosphere at Fort Hays State. They're known for their athletics and their girls basketball. They have such high attendance at their games, and I thought that was really neat. So I decided that the Division II, I'd rather go to a Division II school with a high winning chances, you know, winning programs than, you know, a lower Division I school. So I think it'll be a really neat opportunity, kind of learn some new people, learn a new town, you know, get out of Springfield a little bit. And I'm really excited to be a part of a program that's so set on winning, especially since I've been part of one myself at high school.
Yeah. Yeah, you're 5'11". Do they project you as a big guard?
Yeah, that's most likely what they were talking to me about.
And then, you know, the
do anything, though, to be honest.
What's that?
She can do anything. I'm not trying to sound too biased, but she can guard 1 through 5.
Yeah, and they just lost their first game of the year at Missouri Western by 1 last week, so they've been on quite a roll. You know, and I guess while we're bashing the portal, and there is an opportunity for you to, I think the catchphrase now is bet on yourself. And you look at what Lacey Stokes did at Missouri Southern, and now she's been a 2-year mainstay at Missouri State for the Lady Bears. And, you know, one of your old Kickapoo classmates, Braden Shorter, you know, went to Washburn, and he's tearing it up right now as a sophomore, you know, a 6'6" guard that can shoot the three. There'll be some people probably already tampering with him, I would guess, you know, at the Division II level. But is that something in your mind, too? Not that you want to tell Fort Hays I'm a one and done, but you do have an opportunity to with the portal now to kind of maybe look and see what's out there after a year or two.
Yeah, I'm more of a see where it takes me. I'd love to go somewhere where I can be happy for 4 years. But I mean, I don't want to never say never. And if an opportunity comes out of it, that's great. And if not, I'm fine with being 4 years loyal to a program and having the best years of my life there.
Which coaches are dying for these days.
Oh, yeah.
A kid that's willing to be all four. Yep.
Well, and the girl from Lebanon that went to Western Illinois, Reagan McCowan had such a great year, went in the portal, and she's back at Western Illinois. It was a loyalty thing because I think J.D. Gravina, the head coach there, had believed in her from the start, and that kind of won out over anything else there too. So it's a strange world we live in now, and I can see why a lot of the college coaches are going to sell insurance or something else. Can't you, Leslie?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's like every year you have to. I can't imagine having to restructure a roster every year like that. I mean, the stress alone would be a lot. I think on a coach and on a coaching staff and on a program that you're trying to develop and make a name for yourself. I just think that'd be really hard.
Well, we kind of touched on it earlier, but Incarnate Word, as of tonight, they were going to try to set a new record for consecutive victories. They're at 138 right now. I think they have some weather in St. Louis, so I don't know if they're going to get that game in or not. But a team that beat you guys in the title game last year, a good game, 10-point game. I imagine that's the closest anybody played them all year, wasn't it? It was 10 points?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, the public.
Johnson went 0 for 10 in that game, and if she had just made 2 shots, or even just one, may have been a whole different ball game.
Yeah, and just a bizarre scene in Columbia because the head coach of Incarnate Word, Dan Rolfus, had a heart attack in the parking lot after their semifinal game, and reports that were coming out then were it didn't look good. And I saw in the St. Louis media that he's actually back on the sidelines for Incarnate Word. Both of you, that whole circumstance, of not knowing whether you're going to play a state championship game against Incarnate Word, no less. What was that like that Friday night before the Saturday? When did you finally get the news?
It's not a funny story, but it was a crazy roller coaster of a weekend. We were actually at dinner celebrating that we had just won the game to go play in the championship game, and I get a phone call from our AD and asked me to step out, and he said I don't know how to tell you this, but Incarnate Word's coach has had a massive cardiac event in the parking lot, and we are being told that he didn't make it, so you need to tell your girls, and you need to have your girls tell your parents because we don't even know if there's going to be a game tomorrow. So talk about going from a massive high to having to step in and tell a group of teenage girls this just traumatic news, and then on top of that their season may be over. So our group actually immediately formed a prayer circle, said a prayer for Coach, and obviously you don't want anything like that to happen. So the girls notified their parents, and then I think an hour or two later, I get a call back that says, "Wait a second, he's still alive." So I was like, "This is the craziest piece of about 4 hours of information, of just an emotional roller coaster." Okay, girls, now we may be playing our game. He is alive. Good news to that he's alive, but now we don't know if we're going to play the game. So it was just constant back and forth that we don't know, but just get yourself prepared. And our girls, kudos to them, the maturity that they showed, and the just kind of go with the flow, trying to just, whatever was best for Incarnate Word and their team at that point was all we really cared about, because at the end of the day, basketball is just another game. But I was really proud of the way our girls handled it, and obviously we know that he would want us to play the best possible game that we could, and our girls did not go down without a fight.
Well, and you had an inspired team, even though, very emotional in Incarnate Word, to add on top of it and to play them within 10. My understanding is they voted to play. Is that correct, the girls and the team?
I think so, is what they had kind of decided, and our girls deserve to play the game as well. We fought tooth and nail to get to that point, so our girls also deserve to have that opportunity to give it a go, and I'm just glad that everything kind of worked out. Obviously, not happy that we lost, but the way that our girls played, I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Did anybody discuss what the alternative was? Would they have just named co-champions, or what did you hear?
I think they said it would have been co-champions.
Okay. Mikayla, how big of a bummer would that have been? I understanding the circumstances, of course, but to not get to play that game.
I was very distraught whenever we first found out that we might not be playing, and even after we did play the game and, people were coming up to us because we were upset as a team, a lot of them thinking because we lost, but it was just because that was probably the most fun season of basketball that I've ever had. And so I was distraught because I thought that I wouldn't get the chance to play with our seniors, with anybody else all together one last time when we thought we had that opportunity. And so it was a very emotional time. We didn't really know what to think and what to believe. And we are very thankful that we did get to play that game, even though, we did lose. I'm still very thankful for that opportunity because I wouldn't want to end it on how we did before.
Best public school in the state of Missouri. So.
There you go. We've had a lot of people able to put that on a trophy. Nixa football this year, and that leads to my question for both of you, and Leslie, you first. Where are you on the private versus public thing, and the privates should have their own division?
100% they should have their own division. I mean, at what point do we say this is not, I understand the championship factor once you win a certain amount and then it bumps you up a class. But once they get to Class 6, there's nowhere else for them to go. And to me, when you're beating teams as badly as they are, I mean, they're a phenomenal program. They should be playing a national schedule and let the public schools duke it out amongst themselves and have the privates duke it out amongst themselves.
Mikayla, you agree?
I do agree. It's just really hard. I'm so thankful for the opportunities that we've had to play in those state championship games, but it's just watching Fair Grove or Skyline in those smaller schools actually have, those equal opportunities to kind of have the chance to win that state championship. It's just kind of hard to watch. Not that we don't have a chance, but it's just
big mountain to climb.
Yeah, it feels a lot more difficult to reach the top on that, and so it's kind of hard watching these smaller schools actually have that equal opportunity whenever we're trying to go up against these powerhouses.
When you get to pick your players, then you should win a lot.
Yeah, and that 138 straight includes a 20-point win over Lutheran St. Charles this year. So
right.
If you look at the state poll, that's not a good sign for everybody else, is it?
Nope, it's not. And, and I don't want to sound like I'm griping and groaning and whatnot, but I just think it's fair for the kids that are in the public school. Whoever's going to come to Kickapoo that lives in Kickapoo District, we're going to practice every day and work our butts off to be the best team that we can. And we're not going to go recruit kids. We're going to take who lives in our district and just go to work. And so, and even if whoever gets to that point this year, I hope gives them hell.
You see kids coming through your system as a result of that, having feeder junior highs and such. Leslie, when did you notice Mikayla at first in basketball, and that she could maybe be a difference maker by the time she got to this point?
When she was in middle school.
Yeah.
I mean, she was coming to camps when her and Allison Scott, I got pictures of them when they were just little bitty babies coming to camp when they're in 4th or 5th grade. But no, I knew Mikayla was going to be something special just because of her work ethic alone, her 7th and 8th grade year at Cherokee. Her size, she's really done a great job of figuring out how to use her frame, because she is kind of a little lanky. I'll call you lanky. How about that? But she, I knew from the get-go that she was going to be something special because her work ethic alone separates her from a lot of kids.
Mikayla, I understand you're one of the valedictorians at Kickapoo?
That is right at the moment, knock on wood.
How many are there?
At Kickapoo, there's 10, I believe, because there's not just one person. It's just anybody with a 4.0 that has taken the weighted courses.
And are you willing to challenge the other 9 to a game of knockout or something to to settle it?
I mean, yeah. Let's do some Izzo redux. No, thank you. I think some knockout for sure.
Yeah. What is your long-term goal? What do you want to study? What do you want to be when you get out of college?
That I'm not exactly 100% sure. Right now I'm kind of leaning towards like physical therapy, maybe something in the health field, but still something I'm not quite set on yet, and still trying to learn what's out there and what will be the best fit for me.
Well, I know when you get that diploma, your mom will be crying, I'm sure, out in the crowd. But Coach Hanchey will be too, probably. So, Leslie,
she already made me cry after pink and white.
Oh, really?
I don't know what happened, but I had kids, Scott, and all of a sudden, after having my own kids, I cry over everything.
There you go. And so this is going to be a tough one for you to lose in that whole class, right?
Yes, the whole class. This is a very special class that we have. These girls are, we're a very tight-knit group. We joke around a lot. You end up spending so much time with these kids, they become like your own. So when it's that final buzzer and there's nothing else, it's going to be a bittersweet feeling. But this group, they're going to do such great things after they're done with us. It'll be fun to watch them and see what they do.
Well, you had a team go all the way to the final game last year. You've seen this team now for about 11 games. Do you like where this team is right now, and is there a comparison to the team that made that run last year?
Yes, there is. They're hungry, and when you got a group of kids that are hungry, the sky's the limit. And we play about 10 kids, and we lost one of our main shooters to an ACL tear in our jamboree. And so after losing Mikayla Smith, we basically had 3 players with Josie, Allison, Scott, and Mikayla that had significant varsity experience. We've had 7 kids trying to, figure out what it means to play at the varsity level and have some substantial minutes. And we just kind of, each tournament that we've played in, we've gotten better and better, and they're hungry now for a conference championship. So when you got a group of kids that want to come in every day and get to work and get better every day, I'm excited.
And Mikayla, same thoughts? You ready to take over again in the fourth quarter when it's needed down the stretch?
Oh, absolutely. I love our team. We got a lot of good girls that we all want the same thing. We have the same goals that we're trying to achieve, and I think we can do a lot of great things as long as we keep learning from our mistakes and getting better every day.
Very good. Well, ladies, thanks for your time today. Best of luck to you. Congratulations on a great first half of the year, and go finish it the right way.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
You betcha. Closing segment in 3, 2, 1. That's going to do it for another edition of Around the Ozarks Sports Scene. Special thanks to Leslie Hanchey and Mikayla Pilley of Kickapoo and the Lady Chiefs on a roll again. Hopefully we'll see them take it deep into the state playoffs again this year as well. Special thanks to Fast Break Sports, located at 3109 South Campbell. Of course, your home for all things sports memorabilia, collectibles, supplies. NFL playoffs coming up. Time to dress up that man cave a little bit more with your favorite team gear. And then the pitch at 2924 East Sunshine in the Southern Hills Shopping Center. Great place for pizza, for calzones, cold beverages, their salads, their sandwiches, all at the pitch. And a great place to go watch sports, which leads into the pitch, what to watch this weekend. Of course, we got the college football national semifinals Thursday night and Friday night. Notre Dame versus Penn State and Ohio State versus Texas. 2 really good and intriguing matchups there. NFL playoffs coming up on the weekend. Chiefs are idle this week with the first round bye, but the wild card round, we'll see if there's any surprises there for who comes out. And on the Missouri State basketball front, the Bears are at Southern Illinois at 6 p.m. Saturday. That's an ESPN Plus webcast, so you can watch that. Then, ironically, they host SIU, the same team, next Wednesday at Great Southern Bank Arena the night before the basketball tournament champion starts on Thursday. And the Lady Bears off to a great 10-4 start under Beth Cunningham. They've had a great 1-2 punch there with local girls. Lacey Stokes, we talked about her from Mount Vernon, Cayman Beckemeyer from Republic. They are home versus Southern Illinois on Sunday at 2 p.m. Then on over at Great Southern Bank Arena, or you can watch it on ESPN Plus. Some good Lady Bears basketball going on right now. That's going to do it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week on Around the Ozarks Sports.